the Plat, yep, it's a rap. This is where it's at, a path to the masses, no cap.
The Plat.
Yeah, we on the map. This is where it's at, a path to the masses, no cap.
The Plat.
Welcome to the Plat Podcast. I'm your host, minus the alien. The Plat is where it's at, and this is your one-stop shop for hip-hop. And we got a special guest with us today. First, I want to give a shout-out to my brother, the one and only DJ Dramatize.
What's up with people? What's up?
Yeah, as y'all can see, it's a little new setup. We're just trying something different. And also to my left of me is a brother who is the true essence of b-boying.
Right here in Akron, Ohio. That's what I'm talking about.
Part of the legendary Illstyle Rockerz breakdance crew. The one and only Dre Live.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Plat, Dre. We appreciate you, man.
Good to be here.
Yes, sir.
Drama, alien.
Yes,
good
sir.
To be here.
So the Plat is all about looking at hip hop culture through an eclectic lens and breaking down those elements of hip hop through trying to like bridge the young and the old to where there's some kind of common ground, in a sense, is how I like to look at it. Bringing us all together in this culture that's for young and old is how I look at it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's good to have you here, man. First thing we do is we touch on the previous episode. Always we do like a recap, me and Drama. So last week we had a special guest by the name of Dre as well.
Yeah, another Dre.
Well, all right.
That was Dre Evans.
Yes,
Gemini's.
Yeah,
double,
Dre Evans.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we had him on for the graffiti segment.
Awesome.
And he did a live painting right on the
dope.
spot. And
Good job.
he did like something. It was the Plat is what he did. He turned me and Drama into like these aliens. Yes. Drama was the alien DJ, and he had me
hilarious.
He had me with the hoodie on, alien with the hoodie. So
was it fresh?
It was fresh. And then I forgot to bring it.
All right.
So we'll show it on the next episode for sure.
Word up.
But good stuff. But yeah, we touched on like I said, graffiti art last week. Drama, like what were some of the things you can recall?
Oh, I brought up Andy Warhol. You know what I'm saying? Not saying he's a graffiti artist, but he's big into the art period. You know what I'm saying? So I brought up that and little, with the definition of my definition. Let me say my definition of what graffiti was and what we did when I was in the streets of New York as far as making our own markers and doing our own pieces and bombing and stuff. And I'm glad that you brought Dre on so he can give us a little bit more history because I was still young. When I was in the streets of New York and seeing it. But by him being a b-boy and actually visiting the city and seeing it, he has a little bit more history than I do.
As far as like Andy Warhol is concerned, like I understand like what a lot of people put him and Basquiat and like
we were just discussing that
to graph, but writing and by being called writing, then I can understand because like Basquiat would write certain messages or whatever. But I would go more so with the lettering style, and then of course, and I would. I'm a Phase 2 fan and a Case 2 fan. So when if I were to talk about like guys who were putting flyers together, putting logos, and things like that together for cats, or the guys who were putting the characters next to the letters and etc. and their backdrop and then their murals and their burners and things like that. So I would go with those kind of guys as far as the graph is concerned. Although I'm from Ohio, and so I had to learn those kind of things too. It wasn't like a layup for me to say those kind of things, But even then, in the 70s and the 80s, that I wasn't a fan of somebody drawing up Campbell soup. 1,000 times.
Yeah, for us, that was we were still young, so we really didn't understand.
Well, no, actually, for me, on the strength, being, I'm born in 70, and a lot of the graffiti that I saw, a lot of the art that I saw that from the teenagers in those days were guys that were trying to mimic like comic books. and writing like comic books. So if they wrote like the Boom, the Bam, or if they drew like characters like, you know, Superman or whomever, or just saving a damsel or anything, that showed in their art. And so I was more gravitated to those guys, showing like the muscular structure, you know, within like Batman or Spider-Man or anything like that. So
Because that takes a lot of detailed skill. Like,
and well, they just you could see a guy who looked at a comic book and like didn't have to continue to look at a comic book. Like I was saying, like you could look at somebody's graffiti and take their piece. If you look at it, and it's just simple, like you just etch the line P, and then the rest of the P, and then the H, and then you learn how to like write those letters. You know, I think that's how it goes. Like at least, you know, I can't say that's the real concept, but you know, I believe that's how it goes. So for a lot of people, like, you know, that's how you learn how to draw. My cousins and guys in my neighborhood basically drew like football cards. You know, and basketball and baseball cards, and then the comic books. So, however that looked, whatever wristbands Walter Payton had on, Tony Dorsett, you know, or whomever, you know, that's what they drew. And then the guys who, like, just take it a little bit further, the guys that painted and sculpted the football, the electric football men. You know, they did the same thing. They did the same thing with that. You know, so. And they drew the little details with the rag on the pants and the wristbands and, you know, and things like that. So basically where I'm going with that is paying attention to detail. And so not to go far left with that, you know, by playing sports, you have to learn those details. And then I was always able to implement those kind of details into this dance that isn't structured. What I mean by that, it's not like in a facility. It's not a blueprint in 83 and 84 like on how to b-boy.
Let me ask you a question, Dre. We was talking earlier before we got our show started. Why don't you give us a little bit of history of some of the people that you met when you was in New York doing your breakdancing area and graffiti area?
Oh, well, okay. Well, that's simple. As Baby would know, like, yo, that connection to New York City for me starts with Gump, and then Gump is from here initially, and then he moves to New York, and then how that went. Shasta and Tricky was telling me about, you know, Gump, and like, yo, Shasta describes him as basically like this brother who like goes to law school, and you wouldn't know, like he knows like all these people in hip hop, and then what I mean by that is it's not just the b-boys, it's like really like the people involved in hip hop. Like, not to name some of those names, because some of those names right now.
And shout out to Shaz and Tricky.
Yes,
definitely. I just did. So I just did. So and I just saw Shaz the other 2 days ago. No, I'm sorry, Friday, and then I rap with Tricky as much as I can when I can. But so they were telling me about this brother who we're the same age that's, you know, living in New York City, who comes down to visit his grandmother, and you should meet him because, you know, like they know about my passion for breaking back in the 80s and everything. So I'm like, word. And so I meet Gump over at Tricky's house, and Gump's doing head spins. And then when me and him hooked up and we talked, we ended up looking at some footage at his granny's house, and I was watching b-boys from like Florida, New York, of course, and France and Canada, and then I just really couldn't believe that this was going on. And so from meeting him, I was playing a little semi-pro football at the time. I went to practice that night, that evening, and basically told them this is going to be my last year here because I need to like conform my style with breaking. And so I was hesitant to say that because that was like 1993, 94. So I was hesitant to say it, 93. I was hesitant to say it because of that, and I knew that they were going to make fun of it. But nonetheless, going back to the New York tie, it's all through Gump. You know, it's how I got to meet, like, you know, brothers from either New York City Breakers, Rocksteady, you know, all the brothers from Brooklyn, Burn One, you know, cats like that, you know. And then people who I like, no way I'm about to meet that guy also, you know, through them. So I would really have to say that my key to that city is through Gump.
Through Gump.
Yeah.
And you know
that
what?
was your guideline.
We was gonna have Gump.
Well, he's also the reason why, like, he'll say it anytime too. It's like he's the one that got me back in the b-boying, along with Shasta and Tricky, and then we all started practicing together at my crib, and then at Tricky's crib. And then after like 2 or 3 practices, they just kind of like, oh, this is too complicated. And just like you kind of more dedicated to this than I am.
Right.
And I got some other hustles going on, you know, like they did. Like, you know, they had some other things going on. So it's kind of left up to me. Actually, going on to those shout outs, not to just give you guys another layup, but I owe Gator a whole lot to this. Because Gator...
Good old Gator.
I would be over at Tricky's house, and I would, you know, all you guys is trying, like, babe, you know, like, all you guys is trying to make music and everything, and I'd be the one guy over there saying, like, yo, who do you guys listen to? Who do you like? Like, who do you want to be like? You know, like, do you think if they heard your demo that they would be impressed with this? Because this don't even sound hot. Like, you know, why are you talking about the cities around here, you know, the streets around here, like somebody from Cleveland would even care,
Right,
you know?
right.
So I'm like, just be fresh. Like,
Right.
You know? So... Gator said to me, like, I should stop, like, making these comments to these MCs that slide into Tricky's house trying to make money, and then Tricky would be upset as well because, you know, it's his hustle, so he's making money off these guys, and I'm like saying to Gump all these in the other and Shasta, like, yo, these guys ain't gonna make it. Like, you know,
but you ain't want to mess up the business.
No,
I get it.
I get it. There. Oh no. So Tricky was like, yo, when these guys come over here, I gotta leave. You know, I'm kind of kicked out.
Right.
Like, you know, because I would say to these guys, like, these things.
You
like,
would say they weren't going to make it?
Oh, you guys are going to make it. Wow. And so, like,
Wow.
So I was like, yo. And so Gator was like, yo, you can't say all that stuff, like, you know, because
you said it just like that?
all the time.
Oh, that is raw.
You know, and so all the time, man.
But it's brutal. What do you call it? Brutal honesty?
But because I would say, like, who do you like? And, like, you know, so I was like, yo, you think somebody like that's going to, you know, buy this? Like, you know, this is like, eh. Anyway, so that whole story with me and Tricky goes so deep. You know, I was like the guy who, when he was breaking, because he's one of the guys that got me into b-boying. So when he stopped b-boying the DJ, and I would be the guy to him when he's going to the thrift store, buying all these turntables and all this kind of stuff like that, you know. And I'm like, yo, I would tell him, like, I'm watching him cut it up, you know, take these turntables, take the belts off, you know. And I'm like, God dang, man, like, just come back. Like, we need an extra man to play football outside. Like, man, you out here on the porch DJing.
But Tricky breakdance too, didn't he?
Yeah.
So this is when he stopped
could do that windmill.
b-boying.
You could do that windmill.
He had fresh windmills. So this is when he stopped b-boying to DJ. And I would be like, why would you give this up? Because, you know, let's go after everybody, like, you know. And then, so then he stopped DJing to get into the R&B production and the hip hop production. And I was like, oh, you're blowing it. Like, you could be Kid Capri. You could be
Can I say the name? It birthed 1487.
Yes, the group.
Well, okay.
Well, the spot.
Well, wait.
The spot.
So this is I'm there when he's still on Euclid.
Okay.
So
my bad.
I am there.
Future guys.
I am there with George. Everybody, you know. So I'm like, yo, man, you know, you should guys to do it like this, boom, boom. So I would say the trick, like, you know, you buying certain instruments. You know, I was in the band, so I was like, I don't know if you could read no music, man. You know, I say that kind of stuff, but he didn't have to read it because he could actually like mimic, you know, whatever. You know, Tricky's.
He played by ear, basically.
Yeah. If he picks up something, man, he's picked it up. But he would be he would have all these brothers all the time throughout the crib, even before we get to 1487. And so I would just blow down on all of them, like, yo, let them know, like, yo, it's a lot more work to do. So Gator would tell me that I couldn't say this about the cats because I don't rhyme and I don't do music. And then I remember looking at him going, okay.
They're not going
to make it.
No. So I go, okay.
That's funny.
With what we're going to do, with the things that I'm involved with, it's going to be bigger than this.
Yes.
And I'm like, yo, and then we ended up having a record, and then we're in like magazines about this break record, you know, as B-boys. And it's dope. Like doesn't have a rap on it at all. Only Dome beatboxing on it.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Dome.
Nice.
Big shout out.
You know, and that's it. And he's just giving gas to everybody in the area. And that's it. And so I was like, well, we're going to be bigger than like all you local cats. And that's because we're going to be able to be in more avenues.
Get more exposure,
I
or
don't want to say exposure.
right? Maybe poor choice or words.
We could
but
just drop and we would go to the mall. Let's get loose right now.
to where there's an audience.
And we
Oh, you didn't care if it was audience.
Yeah,
Okay.
We're creating
I got
the
you.
scene where someone's like, "Yo, I saw you at." So we're at Rolling Acres. These were gigs though, but we're at Rolling Acres. For the place that did the lettering on the T-shirts, which Tricky also worked there at, which is kind of also a segue to how we ended up meeting the owner through Tricky. And then, of course, after that, that's where our first Illstyle shirts came through. I don't know if I'm going too fast.
Well, let's say this. Okay, let's say like, how did you even come up with the name Illstyle Rockerz?
So, wow, damn, Tricky's getting some gas here today. So, Tricky was in a group called Ice Material, and
Ice
so
Material.
that was like the last crew. It was like Leonard Humphreys, Terry Lewis, and Bolar, and so I always knew that there was that crew name, and then there was another crew name that we went under that was from around here, and I knew that these were my friends. Like, it was Rodney, Kevin. I knew there was people that I could ask, like, can we hold that name down? And it'd just be us, because those guys aren't breaking anymore. And so we had a couple of names, and then we were in Cleveland, and we were under this name called Beyond Your Imagination.
Beyond Your
Awful
Imagination.
name. It was so
For
awful.
for the crew, for the breaking
That
crew.
was awful. It was the name.
Yeah.
So we
I'm
had
glad
all
y'all
these.
changed
We
it.
had all these names, but that was like
That's brutal honesty.
Oh, that was. we had like 5 at that time.
Wow.
We
I
had
got,
one of the, like,
you got to narrow it down. I get it.
So me and Gump had like a powwow about like, yo, we're losing our identity by having all these names, so we should have this name. So he goes, come up with a name. So we're all trying to powwow. So it was me, Ready Red, Gump, and Honey Rockwell. And then Honey Rockwell and Gump just had left the Rock City crew at the time. And so we're going through some names, and I'm dropping a whole bunch of names because that's what I can do. I can come up with names for people or things all the time. So in that ride back, so there's a song by KRS-One where he says he has a pile of ill styles. And so we're coming up with all these names, and Gump's like giving it the jab. And so, Ready Red and I are both like, oh, that's cool. That's a good one. That's a good one. So Gump's giving them all the jab, which is good that he did. And then I said, I had the name Paula Illstyle. So another name for B-boying is Rockerz.
Right.
Rockerz.
That's
So,
right. That's right. Yes, sir.
So we didn't want to be called Breakers. I didn't want to say Illstyle Breakers. So the first thing that came to my mind was Illstyle Rockerz. And so then the car gets quiet. And we're in like the city, anywho, Independence. We're like about Independence at the time. And then the car is quiet. And then Honey Rockwell says to Gump, like, yo, I like that. And then Gump goes, me too. And I'm like, that name ain't nothing. Like,
But it's stuck though.
And then Bob, he's like, yo, he's down with it as well. But I'm like, oh, I can top that name. Like, So we get to the Akron, and we get to my crib and everything, drop me off. And then we had another spot the next day in Canton, which we were going to be on 67, channel 67. And then I go, this is it. Like, we got to have one name. This is going to be the name forever. And then he goes, well, so far we're down with Illstyle Rockerz. And I'm like, oh, I can top that name. And so I go, he goes, well, if you can come up with a name before we get to the gig tomorrow, then we'll go with that. And so I get to the house, I grab a shower. My roommate's Sleazy. I'm talking to him about everything, and had a real good jam, a day at the jam in Cleveland. Tell him about everything. So I turn on TV to catch up on television. I relax a little bit. You guys know me, so I chilled how I do. And then I'm like, all right, so I'll be able to go to bed and just close my eyes and think of a better name. And so the morning comes, and then Gump hits the horn. Now I'm thinking, even before I get outside, I can come up with a better name. and I get to the car. The drive's about 30 minutes. I can come up with a name before we get there. We get to Canton. We're the Illstyle Rockerz. I can't think.
I was about to say. I knew that was about to lead to. Like,
I mean, I don't
let's
even
just go
come
with
up
that
with
one.
another name to top it.
But Illstyle, that when I hear that speaks hip hop to me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
You
it
know,
does.
we used to say ill back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
And that was really what it was. It was like not to be sick, but to be sick with it.
Right.
You know, and
You the illest.
yeah,
you the
sick-
coldest at
yeah,
something.
the style is ill as well, and so that's the whole play on the whole words with that. And then rocking is another
Is the
term
beat
for
for the
b-boy.
b-boy
And
and-
then
right.
also we all rock, especially me and Gump on the rock dance. You know, from Brooklyn, and you know, again, that's I owe him to that whole avenue and door as well with that whole Brooklyn rock. So
Yeah, we wouldn't have you here if it wasn't for that.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Gump would be a very important person in Ohio because he was dipping back here in 83, 84, 85, 86 and hooking up with cats, you know, well before I hooked up with him, not knowing that they were getting some of his flavor from him, and that was their New York Connect. And then from 93, 94, 5, 6, that's my connect, and those guys are done. And then as he got older and we all progressed, so we all got to get ill together.
Well, Forrest was supposed to be here, but something came up due to scheduling, so we're going to reschedule.
Yeah, we're gonna catch him up later on.
Oh yeah,
Why was it
definitely.
going to put his business out there? I'm just saying if we reschedule it.
You know, I'm sick.
Right.
I'm telling it all.
I'm telling it all. I'm telling it all.
I'm telling it.
But we're going to definitely get him on an episode because
Absolutely.
he has tons of experience and knowledge in the world of b-boying.
Yeah,
Just the
with him,
culture
you gotta
itself,
ask-
DJing and everything, like you said.
With him, you got to have the right questions to ask him to really get deep into.
I've had conversations, so trust
yeah.
me. I knew what to ask him. Watch
yeah,
this. It's
you
going to be a
gotta-
great
You gotta
episode.
have great. I mean,
Because he's a purist.
Yes.
you know,
yes.
you can ask him some questions where he's like, "Am I choosing a side?" You know,
Right. You ain't choosing a side. You're just telling us what it is.
well, that's yeah. Just have great questions for him.
No, I got
and
you.
you'll
I-
get it,
I
and you'll
have
get
him
it.
on lock.
Same with me. You know.
No, we got
Same
you.
with me.
We definitely got you. So what we do also, like we also are trying to just like kind of teach the youth,
Absolutely.
the art of hip hop culture and the different things that make it a culture. It's not just one thing. So what we always do is we just kind of break down what is breakdancing, what does that consist of, these different styles and things of that nature. So kind of start with a little dictionary explanation of it. So breaking, also called b-boying and b-girling or breakdancing, is a style of street dance developed by African American and Puerto Rican communities in the Bronx, New York City. Now, breakdancing consists mainly of 4 kinds of movement: top rock, down rock, power moves, and freezes. Is that accurate?
And flavor, but yeah,
Flavor.
that's pretty much the foundation. You know, I would say that. Sure.
So,
That's your salt and pepper.
when
Right.
it comes to styles, being that there's various styles, have you mastered all of the styles,
Oh,
or do
gosh,
you
no.
master
No.
one
I
style?
don't
Or
think anyone. I don't think any b-boy has mastered all of it. Some of them are very strong at a lot of it, and then some of them are really strong, particularly whether it be power, footwork, flavor, or even top rocks. Then some of what you call a solid b-boy, who's giving you, I'd say 75% of all of that. You know, at least out of the 100. So I would say that would be a solid b-boy. Maybe even 70%. You know, not because hell, the bar is going to be pretty big. You know, who's going to really get to that 100? Anywho, I would say that would definitely be your foundation. And if I were to teach, when I teach, I teach always just in that pattern of tops. Then that's a drop. That's your transition to the floor. And then it's the floor rock or your footwork. I go run through that and then hopefully get to the freeze. These are all in day 1. Get to the freeze. But as far as a power or a continual move or a spin move, you know, that's what a lot of the new B-boys, B-girls would be like a trick. trick move. So if they can learn a backspin, if they can learn turtles, if they can learn a one-shot head spin, anything like that, or even just doing one flare, especially if they have like gymnastic background already, then these kind of moves are, or a 1990, like if they have that kind of a background already, those kind of moves are easy for them to obtain.
Now, let me ask you this: when you're doing breaking, top blocking, and all that, do they actually include other dance styles? Is that accepted? Like, not just say we do urban dance.
It might be controversy in that because even break dancing or b-boying pulled from other things too.
That's what I was asking. Do they pull from other elements?
Because of the brackets. So, like, if you were to pop and then do Michael Jackson and then do the centipede or the worm and then do windmills, like someone's probably gonna say like, "Oh, he's breaking," but I'm like, this guy just did Michael Jackson. He just did Turbo.
Like I see Mike do that.
Yeah, he just.
Hey,
did,
Mike was cool with the robot.
Yeah, he just did
that.
Boogaloo Shrimp. Like he just did a couple of different things. So I would say as a judge, and I've judged now since about '96, and in b-boy jams, and before that never. And I would say those are one of the things that I look for is to have an original identity. For example, like if I'm doing a martial arts exhibition or competition or whatever, I can't use any of the WWE stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. So what I'm asking you is, what do you put like Usher and all of them when they be top locking and all that? Is that part of the hip hop culture, or is that just dance?
For me, they're just
not
dancing.
Okay, you're just dancing. Okay,
I am one of those brothers who I don't look, man. God bless what Usher does and Chris Brown does, but for me, does nothing. If I were to watch Michael Jackson dance in like the Way You Make Me Feel video and Smooth Criminal, it would be different than how we all grew up watching him in the 70s and then seeing the soulful dude dance.
Changed the style up.
Yeah, and when he danced like how people on Soul Train dance, where the dances that the videos that I'm referring to now. No, like for example, when you play Michael Jackson songs, people dance doing him in the video. I mean, the way he danced in the video when they dance live with him. So the music doesn't really transcend like how the Gap Band or certain James Brown records or Stevie Wonder records.
Yes, sir.
Like
yes,
so,
sir.
Where I was going with that is with the Usher and the Chris Brown. Like they do something else, but that music isn't conducive or as soulful for me. It doesn't really hit me here. And then the things that they're doing, I'm like, it's all like finger snap, like the Michael Jackson stuff. Like that's why I mentioned the Way You Make Me Feel. Like, baby, I know, like I wasn't about that. Like, I like the Michael Jackson from Off the Wall and then prior to that.
Got you.
As far as the dancing. So the Usher stuff for me and the Chris Brown and how everyone feels like, how he dances. I'm like, okay, all right. I don't think it's whack, but
that's not b-boy.
Is it much different than Janet Jackson dancing? Because it's not even Hammer. Hammer, that's gonna make you sweat. Those rehearsals with Hammer, you know what I mean? If you was in Hammer's crew in '88,
that was a cardio workout.
Oh yeah, that is really. If your legs, to me, to dance, that's why I mentioned all the snaps and the points with Michael Jackson and stuff like that. And the Way You Make Me Feel, and the legs is what dance.
I got you.
You see what I'm saying? So I need to watch your legs and your feet move, and that's when I'm impressed.
That's kind of how you judge if somebody's a great dancer in a sense.
Even with b-boying,
okay.
Not to cut you, Ellen, but
no, you
even
good.
with b-boying, I'm more impressed with their tops and their flavor and their footwork. So if a person if you see someone spin on their head 10 times, why wouldn't you believe you can do it 20?
Yeah.
If I see someone do 3 flips, why wouldn't I believe you can do 7?
That's true.
So in a row,
right.
See what I'm saying? But so now I'm discrediting him as a dancer. Is more of an athlete. you know, to watch them.
Because the degree of difficulty for some of those moves takes power, like a ton of strength.
Yeah,
Core strength.
If
like
someone
the core.
stands on their hands, and then they bring their feet the opposite way, where their feet are barely touching the floor, you know, but they're just standing there for like 30 seconds and they're just holding it,
like a
you know. So exactly. So that's impressive.
Yeah.
But as a dancer, I'm like, well, you stop dancing for 30 seconds to flex on how strong you are.
It's a combination of things.
Well, it's like as a swimmer. Okay, boom. Here's a good one. Gump, you're gonna love this one. So as a swimmer, I come up with these all the time. You know. So as a swimmer, you could swim a couple of miles, but then there's this dude who can't swim that great, but he can hold his breath for like 3, 4, 5 minutes underwater. Can't swim though.
Can't swim.
7 minutes. He can hold.
It ain't gonna get you nowhere.
Yeah, he can hold his breath for 7 minutes underwater. You know what I mean?
That don't make him a swimmer.
Hey, so to him,
Right,
he's
right.
like, I can hold my breath for 5 to 7 minutes, and then just come up, and then go back down, and then go back to swimming. So, where somebody else is like,
Right.
before he catch a cramp, you know what I
that
mean?
is
The other guy could just be like, I could just be down here, just doing like this.
Or he jumped out of the water when the other guy didn't see it and he ran down to the other side.
So I'm just saying, like,
Jump back in.
without
I
those
got you.
legs moving, to me,
You cheat.
yeah, it's like I mean, as an athlete as well, you know, baby, you can understand it as well. It's like playing QB. I could lead the team in rushing, but I want to lead the league, and I want to lead the team in yards passing and touchdowns passing. I want to do all of them.
Right.
So I don't want to just be the rusher. You know what I mean? I want to be the QB.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So as a dancer, I am more impressed with those legs and those feet moving. And I like to think for all of us around our age that have seen any of us get loose.
All those 20-year-olds.
You know, exactly. I like to think that when you see us, man, you're gonna see like that top rock flavor and the footwork flavor and boom, boom, boom. You know, we're not known for doing flares, you know, and flips and things like that. Not that I discredit those, but at the core of us, it's the essence. So again, when you ask me about those 4 elements of b-boying, those are true, and along with flavor, and then that's what I like to think that it's helped me extend my b-boying. I don't want to call it a career, but I guess that's what it is. You know, b-boying, extend my b-boying. I guess it's career, yeah. And it's how I can go out and
led to
dance.
teaching.
The teaching I started doing
instructing.
in the 8th grade. And I started teaching people how to do turtles, windmills, backspins, swipes. Cats who weren't trying to break it all, they just wanted to learn like one move. And that would be it. You know, shout out to my boy Marty, Dan Heidemann, you know, guys that I could think of, you know, that always like call me up, like, yo, tell him, like, yo, Dre, you know, couldn't I break, you know? And I'm like, yeah, this cat could do these windmills, man. He could bust this backspin. But I've started teaching at a very young age, and going back to sports again, if you knew your position, then you would have to show the next tier what you're doing or what they're doing wrong. So I'd always been able to, and then playing quarterback, then I also had to know everybody else's job. So I could, even if I couldn't do it, if I don't know how to do flares, I could teach you how to do flares. So I've seen them enough, you know, and so I was able to do that. So I've been able to teach since then. And then by the time I hooked up with Gump and Ready Red, I ended up breaking down those practices with Gump, and then was able to teach myself how to work in the square, which is also became the circle. And he was like, yo, you have to have your hands and your feet go in the same spots every time. You know, you're doing the same thing unless you're trying to like switch your direction. And so that's what I started doing. And then practicing with Bob, he's just a little bit younger on the b-boy tip than me, even though we're only a year or two apart. But I was able to tell him, like, you know, not to say nothing wild about it. You know, he's a white dude, you know. So I'm like, yo, you know, make sure your flavor's fresh, you know. don't just come out here looking willy nilly, you know, just because you're breaking, like, you know, you're breaking with me,
Right.
so let's look fresh, like, you know.
Right.
So I try to take that away, you know, from him. So I was teaching him as well.
Now let me ask you this: what is a turtle, man? I keep hearing you
Turtle
say
was
turtles.
like
What
a
is a
crab
turtle?
walk, like, so, you know,
okay.
in between here.
Yeah,
So
Okay,
crab
that was
walk,
that was
walk
like
in
my
the circle.
go-to move because I didn't really know any moves. I'll do that
Yeah.
move.
Crab walk.
Okay, the crab
So
walk.
a lot of the moves have different names throughout the world. But you know, even if you say it and then someone says like, "What are you talking about?" and then they do like, "Oh, so you mean, you know, halos?" You know, so it's different things. So different terms, like we were called swipes, and then they were called sweeps,
Okay.
and then vice versa. You know, so we call them air swipes, and they were just still called just swipes. You know, so we're just throwing these other, you know, words on them, but you know, once you see it, it's all the same. And I guess with the dance, really, the terminology isn't so important of just seeing it. Like there's no real moves being made.
Right.
There's a lot of people who like have their own flavor and style of ways of making their transitions in the
But
moves.
you're kind of doing the same.
Yeah,
move.
so if somebody can like just double joint it, then you can't teach double jointed.
No, you
Right.
can't. Right.
Or you gonna lose an arm.
I mean, yeah, you know, that's every time I do that move, I lose an arm. You know, I separate my shoulder, dog. You know? So yeah, it's something like that. So yeah, the vocabulary can change throughout, but for the most part, once you see it, like you can call a backspin, whatever. So where I teach now,
Like, oh, that's the Pee Wee Herman.
yeah, where I teach now, if someone asks me like, well, what is that move called? I'm like, I just shrug my shoulders and go like, you can name it what you want to name it.
want to name it. Yeah,
So that
yeah.
you remember what it's called or what you
Right.
want to do
That's
when you
gonna
want to
help
refer to it.
Drop to that move.
Yeah,
Right. I
and
got
so
you.
whatever. So when she writes it down or he writes it down, you know, and if I ask him like, can you break down, you know, that run and tell me what the top rocks were, the drops, et cetera, et cetera.
Now, so you said you actually teach a class at Kent State, right?
Yes,
You want to expand on that a bit?
I'm teaching what is generally called jazz styles to hip hop. And so it's really supposed to be about the transition of the connection of jazz to hip hop, whether it be like, you know, Gangstar and artists like that. And because it's a dance class, then the dance of hip hop is really b-boying and breaking. So and b-girling. So that's the dance. So anything else is called another dance. And basically all the other dances that are a derivative of hip hop are really a derivative of funk and R&B.
Yes.
Like, you know, popping, locking, you know what I'm saying? So
Y'all went off disco beats too, right?
a lot of the early breaks are disco.
Yes,
and
sir.
disco
Yes,
and
sir.
rock records are a lot of the early breaks that and then now ironically there's two parts of this. Ironically, I'm raised or I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and my grandfather was born in 1920, who was also like a spitting image of Count Basie. Like, I mean, he looks just like him, old and young. They both had the same,
Like me.
yeah. Yeah. And so, so I have that. So I have the history of that, and then I have the '70s fusion jazz history with my uncle, and so that brings in like the Herbie Hancock stuff like that, and so the Roy Ayers and stuff like that. But I only teach here breaking, b-boying, b-girling, and the class was hoodwinked. They really thought it was going to be a layup course. 'Cause these guys are all like in ballet and modern dance and musical theater, and then
Drum using ballet?
No. When he was saying the ballet, I see how they was trying to transition that with the hip hop. They always have done that.
Oh, I got
from
you.
when they made the movie about that.
Actually,
They did that in breaking too.
You know, yes, they did, and you know
Yes.
that's too wild because you know, you guys remember the movie All That Jazz? All right, so boom, so that's a movie like loosely based on the dude Fosse or Fozzie, if I'm not saying his name correctly. So you know, I'm like, oh, that kind of sounds like the story of that guy, and like, oh, that's what the movie's about. And so here's a brother who went into Harlem in the boroughs and was getting routines from the brothers, and then he's like basically like the godfather of contemporary like jazz dance, like modern dance, you know. And so I kind of tell them, like, you know, I got in this conversation with one of the students who doesn't take my class, but she heard that I basically discredited him and said to me that, how do you feel about him? And I was like, well, you know, if I have to think about jazz, and jazz starts in the 20s and even prior to that, but then if I have to think about the dancers that, you know, even if I had to go to Dorothy Dandridge and then Nicholas Brothers and et cetera, and Sammy Davis. So I'm talking to kids who don't know who Sammy
They're
Davis
like, who
Jr.
are
is.
you talking about?
Yes, but they know who Fosse is.
Well,
So
that's
I'm like,
good.
I'm like, well, that's a dude who's like a jazz dancer. This guy does something that's contemporary to it. Like, you know, it's not quite it. Like if I have to look at
But
early,
you had a way to kind of correlate it for them to understand when you said his name. You're saying
no. So I was basically saying that he's a I don't want to say culture vulture.
he's a vulture.
I didn't say that, but he was able to create his own lane.
To make it commercialized.
Yeah, exactly.
Commercial version.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. No,
Which
that's
is frowned upon.
Yes, but to them, it's like he is the Elvis or the George Washington or the capital of that. So I'm like, so you guys are really learning about this brother over Sammy Davis Jr.
Oh, I got
Okay.
you.
So
I
they
see
didn't
you.
know who I was talking about. I was like, are you kidding me?
I got you.
And so I have to bring up stuff where Sammy Davis is like 5, 7 years old, eating a piece of chicken and talking like, well, I'm not and oh yeah,
Oh, that's
and,
messed
you know,
up.
eating, you know, but the dancing is still who he is. So I'm like, well, it's the tap dance and the soft toe, you know, that is the start of that dance. So teaching here at Kent to just eliminate the argument or the confusion, not the argument, or because it's really my personal opinion. I really just want to teach the breaking.
Yes,
because
the hip hop, the
they,
urban.
They're learning that from other peers or avenues. So with what I'm teaching, you know, it's what it is.
Giving them the fundamentals.
Yeah, well, I'm probably the only, I don't want to say professor, but that's what it is. I'm probably like the only one, like after every God blessed class, they're like, thank you. Thank you.
Because you're
All of them.
You're
All of
actually
them.
you're actually giving them what they really came there for. I mean, the experience.
No. They were hoodwinked. They did not know that the class was going to end up really being breaking.
But that's what you come in there for, though.
Now,
why ask you to come if you're not? That's what
If
you
it wasn't
teach.
associated.
I was
with breaking.
recommended by my man Sammy,
Exactly.
and
Yeah,
big shout out
you-
to Sammy,
Yes.
Sammy Mack from Making That Hammond from 10K. Highly recommended from him, and he was saying like, "Yo, this dude's the real deal, and that's what he's gonna bring." And so the faculty knew that this was gonna go down this way, but the students did not.
Okay.
and
It was a nice surprise.
Well, I actually after the midterms, one of the questions was, you know, during the midterms was what do they feel like, you know, the benefits that they've gotten from this course, and 90% of them were saying like, you know, pushing themselves, they're bringing up their self-esteem. Their self-esteem is raised up.
Yes,
and like
of
2 or
course.
3 of them were saying that they were going to drop the class, but this is showing them that they can go, you know, push further.
awesome.
You know, and I swear, I told a couple of people like these are like I told my my boss. I told, you know, a couple of old friends, old girlfriends, and things like that. Like, yo, these were like hugs to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like on my birthday and on Christmas, if nothing really falls my way, I'm just going to read these midterms and get these hugs, you know, from these students. So
no, that's real.
I know Minus is going to touch these bases with you because we moving on with this. What about who inspired you to break? What did your influence? When you went to New York, I'm cause me being from the city.
Okay,
I gotta ask you these
that-
questions.
Yeah, like were
that's-
you inspired
okay.
by the Rocksteady crew at all?
What
Not
inspired you?
initially. Initially it was Steve Lockett, Kevin Fitch, Rodney Pryor, Trick Diesel, Tricky D, my cousin Jeff. Jeff is probably the closest to me with it because one, we're family, and then we've always raced, did competitive things together, and by him having that grasp before I did, which were like backspins, he could do turtles. He could do flips. I wasn't down with the flips. Him and Tricky were about that life. But once I saw Steve Lockett at a
big shout out to Steve Lockett. People
Yeah,
don't know that's Akron,
yeah.
one of Akron's greats.
Yeah, absolutely. When I saw Steve Lockett at a civics audition, I was there with my cousin, who was with the Gigolo Rappers. Shout out to Thomas Sadler. This is also Shas's brother.
Yes, sir.
Dennis Amos, Bobby G, and I can't remember my other brother's name. Big dude. I want to say his name was. I don't even want to lie. And then my cousin Spank. But nonetheless, I was there with them, and I saw the Playboy Rockers get loose, and Steve went out. And I say it all the time. He just goes out and does basic top rocks, does basic footwork. Does a move that's sort of like a backspin to like a cherish type of freeze, and then I just looked at that like, oh, that's just what I saw on 2020, in that little documentary about what's going on in New York City, and then
these are the people that you're speaking of.
Akron.
These are Akron greats.
Akron.
Did anyone
Akron legend.
besides Akron?
Steve was coming back from New York
Okay.
all the time, and so he was wearing like a safari hat. You know what I mean? It represented like the Kango to him. He had a name belt. He had on like Lee's or Levi's.
Gazelles.
He was rocking gazelles because
Okay.
a lot of people know that
Wait, is it Gazelles or Gazelles?
Gazelle.
Gazelles, if you know them exactly.
Cazel.
Okay, cool.
Yes, yes.
Gazelle.
I got you.
Gazelles. The Gazelles was the bootleg Jones. You know what I mean? Yeah, those are the ones you can get for $5.
my bad.
You're a
bro.
poop-
My
you're-
bad.
Yeah, those
He's
are
a
the ones you
poop
can get
butt.
for
He's a
$5.
poop butt for wearing
Yeah,
that.
and I mean, but what you do with those? If you got those, you just kick the lens out of them and rock them just a frame.
That's the fat boy
Oh,
look.
yeah, that's
That's
cool.
the fat boy
That's
look.
the way you do that.
Yes, sir.
That way you don't care
Can you
about
keep
it.
one frame in and pop
If
one
that's-
out? If that's
if-
your style.
If that's what you
I
want
would've
to
did it
go old
like that.
dirty,
I
that's
would've
what you
did
can
it
do.
like that.
You know what I mean? If you want to go old dirty.
So look, so we got a couple more segments we want to kind of probably speed through because
let's
I'm
go.
not sure how much time we got. Definitely got to touch on the Olympics. So I kind of heard you saying that you were on the committee to help
So-
get breakdancing into
Yeah,
the Olympics for this year.
Honey Rockwell, Gump. There's a whole bunch of people like Quick Step, a few other people who Rockefeller helped like facilitate that avenue for us, for me at least. This is maybe a year and a half ago, like maybe 2 years after COVID, and when it was fact that the b-boys are going to be a part of the Olympics, which they're only going to be a part of the Olympics this year. It's not a real continual
That's
thing.
big because it might grow.
It may, but what if it's ballet?
What
in
are the
2028?
criteria they're judging it on?
Exactly.
I believe. Okay, so boom. A lot of the things that can happen in a b-boy circle is not going to be like allowed. Like you won't be able to do certain moves and certain gestures, put your hands, certain
I know
things.
what
You
you're
won't
talking
be
about.
able
That's
to.
what you're
Yeah,
saying.
you won't be able to do anything like that. Won't be anything that you
No
can
Michael
do.
Jackson grabs.
Yeah, no cutthroat, no kind of like actual diss.
Like I usually do in battling. Like
Yeah, you won't
up
be able
in
to
your
do that.
face style.
Yeah,
This
you
is
won't
gonna
be
be
able to do
strictly
that.
like group
Yeah, you won't
group
be able to do
setting.
any of
Like
that.
So it's more solo. Just do your solo dolo. You can't direct the
It's
energy
going to be
towards
based
nobody.
on like power, cleanliness,
footwork.
flavor, everything that's
Degree
the
of
judges are going to be
difficulty.
solid there.
so, who's doing? Did y'all make up the rules?
Wait, so the rules are done by the Olympic Committee, if I'm not mistaken, and so which I believe that the ballet. How am I going to put this? How can I put this? Like the formula or the format for the B-boys is really structured around the ballet committee there. And so it's not, that's why I said, like, who knows, 4 years from now, it could be ballet, not B-boys or breaking, because it's not there. And they have a lot to do with the criteria and the judgment of the Olympics.
What they're saying here, I looked that up. It said calling it studio trained dancers.
Yeah. So I get into going back to Fosse and everything like that. So if you guys can remember, like the blow up that In Living Color had with the Fly Girls. So that was like the first time that you started seeing like studios, trained dancers involved.
So that was Jennifer Lopez
Yeah,
and them.
no, and that and Rosie Perez.
Rosie Perez.
You know,
she was the choreographer.
and Big Legs and all those girls. But nonetheless, those people all have like it's basically like
That's their background in dance,
Well, it's
isn't it?
basically like the new versions of Debbie Allen.
Exactly.
You know,
That's a good-
and
Exactly.
even though Debbie Allen can dance like how black girls and black people dance, whatever, but then she can also take it to the other level. Like Rosie, I don't really know that Rosie has all that background. Like I don't think she has Debbie's background. I don't think none of the people that we're going to mention has Debbie Allen's background. But especially even as a dancer, because you think about it too, she's a girl who grew up in the 60s and the 70s, so she saw all the choreography and all that, you know, all the fly stuff, and then early Soul Train.
And Debbie Allen is the sister of
Felicia.
Rashad, which is Claire Huxtable.
That's correct.
Show.
So do you feel like that kind of messed up the b-boying?
Oh, that
The whole style of urban dance?
Well, how rap almost eliminated the DJ.
Yeah.
So there's so many.
you got-
So even right now, even to go off topic a bit, how in the 80s when the record companies and the MCs and the rappers, you know, were able to talk to the youth and have a voice and speak to us. Now the industries all own the record labels, and they're putting out these products where they're all like cookie cutters, you know, all have the same message, you know, unlike yourself, you know what I mean? So, but then too, it's about
Except for
getting
me.
on. It's about
Except
getting
for me.
on those people who want to get on those avenues and want to go and talk that route,
Right.
and want to talk like they're whatever. But
It's like you said, they control the narrative
Yeah.
and they spit nothing but
Yeah.
poison.
so the same thing that happened with the dance. So how could something like I remember like when the Running Man and the Cabbage Patch became like the dance, and I was like, how could this be hot and break and be corny now?
Exactly.
Oh, so
And
you
so I
mean
was
to tell
waiting.
me
Exactly.
that so those styles, why couldn't they have just coexisted?
Well, the people who didn't dance in the 80s, early 80s, like 82, 83, 84, you know, other than being able to dance with a girl. So all that's gone too now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
The being
No
able
more
to-
slow dancing.
Yeah, being able to walk up to a girl and getting that walk of shame if she rejects you, then you like your homegirl like, oh, there she is. I'm gonna have to ask Sheila to dance.
Right.
You know, you walked up to Sheila, you spit your game a little bit, and then all of a sudden you done turned around like, it's all right, and now all your homeboys know like she said no. So all those things are gone.
Until you do this, you bust that move.
Yeah, see, and so the dancing from like we were talking about Hammer earlier, and I'm like, yo, he didn't get his props, you know, as far as a dancer. Like he did, but
Well,
to this same
until
day.
Vanilla Ice came.
And
killed
then
it.
I ain't gonna front.
Vanilla
Killed the
Ice.
game.
Watching Vanilla Ice with those four other
my
brothers
God.
dance,
Killed the game,
and I was
son.
like, yo, this white dude dances just as good as these brothers dance, you know.
Remember
but
when Jim Carrey did it though?
Oh,
that
man.
was
Come on, man.
all right, stop. Elaborate and listen.
They killed the game on us, man. That's why I said I'm not really trying to make the fun of what we do, because me being a DJ, him being MC, and
Yeah,
you being
that's
a
great.
B-boy,
That's great.
We mad about our whole life and career
Craft.
that we craft. It's
Yeah,
got
the craft.
destroyed.
Yeah, the
when we
craft is-
commercialized.
And like for example, I got 15 students, and I said to them like, yo, if you guys were all in my city, you know, at the same time, or if we were 7 here and you know whatever in Cleveland and some in Kent, whatever, you know, or even still in Kent, like that's still a posse, and they don't understand like 15 people. So imagine if it's 15 cats with you guys with same connection, like you know, doing it like MC and DJ. You know, that's how you put it together. You know, and then try to like bring certain people in, and that was always the formula to us growing up. So now, you know, I'm talking to these young cats. You know, I work with. You know, he's showing me some video of them out in God bless it, out in Cleveland. I can't. God bless it, ballroom.
Oh, the
Beachland Ballroom.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Beachland, yeah.
And so, so I'm looking at it. You know, it's always a lot of people here, and then they hit off like a mosh pit. I'm like, wait a minute, what? I was like,
Oh, they moshed it.
yeah. So I'm like, you know, I'm 22-year-olds. I'm like, I don't know what kind of frustrations y'all were trying to work out.
Wait, you got caught up in the mosh pit?
No, heck is no, man. I've been in a mosh pit before, but I was young and I was like bigger to me or stronger than the people who were in the mosh pit. So I felt like I'm gonna do all right in here. It wasn't like 90 people or so in this pit. A couple of chicks. Like I'm gonna jack her up. Like if she try to go at me, a couple of dudes here. I'm gonna jack him up.
Hey,
if they try to go at me,
in the mosh.
But. I'm looking at him like I said, like I don't know what kind of problems y'all going through, but like this isn't a good time to me. Is to come out here with a scar, chipped tooth,
right?
Bloody nose. You know what I mean? Like, man, it was a good concert, man. You know what I mean? I was like, man, this music. I'm listening to the music too. So the music to me, since probably 1990, I've been saying like, yo, it's garbage. Like everybody, I go back to the whole Tricky's Basement, like. I've been saying like, the rap part here is like you guys are falling off. Yeah. So I'm like, oh,
then
you like
Minus arrives.
No, I would say though. So you guys like Guy. So I'm like, this ain't nothing like Guy's music at all.
Right.
Like
right.
So I'm like,
no, you're right.
Yeah. So I would say if it didn't matter what it was, I'm like, you like Heavy D? Like this don't sound nothing like Heavy D. Like I'm going way back to the early '90s. So I'm like, you want somebody like Heavy D because he crossed over.
And rest in peace.
Absolutely.
Like you talking about that. I just think hip hop was gone after the 90s, man. Our definition of hip hop is gone after the 90s.
Yes. Really 87, 88. That's it. That's really it. When you got to have groups like Run DMC have to figure out a way to do the whole Down with the King to make themselves more relevant, and then you realize, man, if I watch a Run DMC concert for 2 hours, Down with the King is the only song on that whole and the Ave. I don't know if you guys remember that song. The Ave. Yeah. Those are the only 2 songs on that whole album that's worth even mentioning. Like you really just could have did a 12-inch and one's the B-side.
I prefer more their early work though. Yeah, the Down with the Kings album. I don't.
Well, it's only 2 songs on there.
Well, who
I'm basically
that?
saying
was that Pete Rock?
Yeah, well, and Jam Master Jay.
Okay.
But I'm basically saying if you go see them in concert, you really only need to see those first 4 or 5 albums.
Yeah, that's
performed.
it. That's
it.
Yeah, I'm done. We good.
You're Rolling Stones.
You gave me the catalog.
Yeah, you guys are the Rolling Stones. I don't need you guys to help me.
You don't want you to hurt yourself.
Like with Biggie, I didn't want to hear Biggie rhyme with Bone Thugs and Harmony their way.
No, right.
I wanted to hear them. Oh, I think that album. I really don't think that album's even worth mentioning. Like that's and it's titled what Life After Death. Like the titles of these records even stink.
I know it's promoting the
it's like stink. Like this is really what you want to go. And then there's a double LP and you got the Hurts out there.
I think that was really for Cleveland, man. That wasn't for the culture.
And I thought that record was awful. And I'm not a fan. I've been in the paper. I've been on the radio. Shout out to him now because we all grow up, and I didn't like to me Bone Thugs was Tricky's Basement stuff. So I was like, yo, you guys ain't gonna make it. I'd have been dead wrong,
right.
But you know what I mean. But I will say to the cats like, this is like 96, 95. So I'm like, yo, I'm at these people. These MC battles and MC. Whatever, going on in Cleveland, and then I never heard of them. Then all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah, they come out of nowhere.
Yeah, not to diss them or nothing like that. Please don't believe that. I said I had to grow up, and I can respect them now. But back then, I was like, yo, I got some friends that are way tighter than them.
Right.
Now, that's also in Tricky's Basement.
Now, before we get off into, we got a couple of things we got to do real quick. I got to do a community spotlight. I also have to do a business spotlight, and I'm going to do a spotlight for a female.
Yeah, we always do the female artist.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop you.
No, I know. But I got one more question for you. That was the thing. But I forgot it.
It's not on the card? It's not on the card?
Not this one. It was like spur of the moment.
Yes.
Let me think. Oh, now I've got it. Hold on.
No, I don't.
Hold on. I'm going to get it, guys. Just pray for me. Now, shoot. I hate when this happens.
Take a time.
Let me think.
Go to your shout.
It's something you're involved in. So let me think about this. We talked about the Olympics. So now it was something else you did, man. And now I can't remember. messed up, y'all. I'm sorry.
Our jams.
I failed us.
Our jams. So we.
That's what it was. It was the Christmas
the
jam.
jams. Well,
the
not
Christmas
just that,
jam.
but the jams. We're the first ones to bring back like a local MC battle, b-boy battle. We had black book competitions. This goes back to the 90s, 96.
Nice.
You know, we started all that. We brought Case 2 here.
Nice.
You know, do a piece behind Goldies, which is my man Murphs, was one of my best friends. You know.
Shout out to Josh Land too for always
my
capturing
boy,
the moment.
Josh, gosh, man, the last. Wow. So I would say from about 2010-ish is when he started coming around, Josh, that is, and then started documenting stuff. And then I remember saying to Gump, like, yo, man, this guy comes around and everything and takes these fly photos. And it's like, yo, man, we got to make him part of the crew. Yeah. Like, you know.
He's one of the best.
And not just
he's
because
taking
of
amazing
that.
pictures for us too.
Like, not just
He's
because
amazing.
of that. I'm like, yo, he's got to rep, you know, ISR and have all of our credentials and, you know, portfolio or whatever, you know, behind him. So with that, you know, being said, like, he knows all the B-boys, all the MCs, all the graph writers, all the DJs, you know, basically within 4 to 5 hours from Ohio or from Akron. And he puts all those kind of people together, promotes crazy. Gosh. But prior to that, what used to happen was Ready Red would have footage of jams, you know. So, for example, I had his camera down at the Scribbles Jam in 98 or 9. He couldn't make it, and we were in the back. It was 98, so we were in the finals. But I'm videotaping the MC stuff, and this is where you got Juice Leader there, you had Eminem there, and Rhyme Fest. And so all those brothers were there. So I had to give the footage to I can't think of his name right now.
Ryan Fest beat him, right?
No, Ryan Fest beat him, and then Ryan Fest was in the finals against Juice, and then Juice is one of my favorite freestyle MCs of all time. Yeah, he's a real problem. So I remember them talking about how. I remember M was rhyming with a Heineken all the time, so he had his thumb over it, and he was like, nah, you know how his cadence is. And he was basically saying that I can't see that you were like basically an alcoholic because that's like the same drink that you done battle with like since you started. And basically saying like you ain't buying no more drinks.
Right.
Like, you know, that's the same one. And you just making sure you don't spill it.
Right.
With this thumb over you, you know what I mean?
That's dope.
So I remember that. And I had to get that footage up. I can't think of my boy's name right now. But that footage, you know, came from, well, they had all the cameras. So they had multiple ones. But so you were asking me about...
well, the jam.
The jam. So the Christmas jam started... in 96, so that also goes back when Gator was telling me that we can't say anything about all the rappers because we don't have no music out and doing something. Then we did music, and then we start facilitating jams. So, you know, I'm one of the guys that insisted. No, I'm the guy that insisted to the Beacon if they don't put my homeboys' names in here and interview these guys, which was like Gator, Honeypot, Ghetto Media, you know, DJ Synapse, all these brothers. You know, if you don't see Foster, if you don't talk to these guys, then don't put none of it in here other than we're going to be here at this time on that day. And so after that jam, I'll never forget this because that jam we had, the first Christmas jam, which was on January 6th. So we call it Christmas because it's just really around that era. I mean, part of the time. We had 633 people show up at the jam.
Wow.
That paid. And I remember because we could barely walk through the inner belt at the time. You could barely walk through there. If you were back in the back, that's where you are. You know, you had to be somebody to say, excuse me. And you're going to say that a lot, like to get to wherever you're trying to get. And then wherever you're trying to get, if it's a prime place where everybody's dancing, everybody's trying to be there. So they're not going to really let you get through unless you're getting into the circle. So the jams had started then, and we were doing other jams in between Christmas throughout Christmas, and then Gump says like we shouldn't do the jams too much. It's like meaning like let's try to do 4 jams that we produce.
Yeah, because you want to make people really miss it.
Well, not just we wanted to have jams during seasons. So it's 4 seasons. Okay. So it's a fall, people coming back to school,
quarterly
people
jams.
leaving school, people coming for Christmas break, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So that's how everything was.
Gotcha.
So like Icebreaker, you know what I mean? So we're trying to think like that. So we just do a jam where everybody's kind of doing something that week or weekend. Right. In the last few days of college, May.
The May Day days.
Yeah, so we try to have something like around May Day. So, which is my birthday. So we go around something like that. So Gump's like, yo, we do like his birthday, my birthday, which is also like incorporating Josh and Suave and Ready Red, and then try to do something around Thanksgiving, Halloween, which brings in like Dome, Besta was around Christmas. So, and Cuba was around November, October. So we were doing things around our birthdays to celebrate our birthdays. And then, fortunately, Annabelle's basically giving us the facility for free, every time. Yeah. Shout out to Billy Bill. And making that happen for us. And the paper would always gravitate to it. So it wasn't that we wanted because I ain't going to front. The perfect time to have a jam for B-boys is really when the weather's nice. Yeah. So having a Christmas jam, to be honest with y'all, it's not for the B-boys. It's really for the
venue?
Yes, the city. It's really saying to everybody who support us, like I always tell people, like, yo, no matter what's going on in Columbus and Cleveland and Pittsburgh, Detroit, but if you don't have people to come out for just y'all, then you haven't created the scene.
Right.
So if you need to bring people from New York, France, Miami, all these B-boys to come up here just to have a $500 battle, to have maybe 30 to 50 people in this battle, then you're really only catering to the people who travel here that hope to win. Versus I would rather have a $100 battle and have 70 people from the area exclusively there to watch and participate.
Right.
Then have 150 and have to give away $500 and maybe got to pay the judges too. Right. So you may have ended up paying like $2,000 to give away $500 for 150 people to come in at a $10 jam.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's a lot of work. I'd rather have a $5 jam, 100 to 75 people here, and that I can count on always supporting it.
Well, and usually, like you said, those will be people who truly love the culture.
Yeah, that's what I said. And no battle. Yeah. So, like, most of our jams come with no performances from anybody. Mm-hmm. No battle. Like, we may give away money for the MC of the night or the B-boy of the night, and doesn't mean the MC of the night could have the battle. That time on the mic could have only been 20 minutes. The B-boys of the night could have been throughout the entire night, but I really could have probably only watched 45 to an hour of that, and like, oh, that's who it is.
I got you. Now, y'all had Large Professor there too one time?
Large Pro is one of Gump's, like real close affiliates. Like, they rap quite often, and he comes through here and digs with Gump. And whenever he's here, he's always down to do whatever and do anything, him, J-Zone, a lot of guys, like, the list is really, really, really long. So, the list is really long, but Large Pro is one of the staples. I can say in within the last decade. There's a lot. Hell, we just what was it, June? We were just at the art museum, and DJ Cash Money was there. So these are also, gosh, I'm going on and on. And then, fortunately, I was doing some work at the Rock Hall years ago, so I've done connections with the X-Men, the DJs, the Executioners, gosh, those lists of DJs can go on, but Large Pro, plays those rare grooves, man, and those breaks. And he definitely caters to MCs and B-boys. And if people can see his name affiliated with us, you're coming to a jam that's probably $5 to see Large Pro.
Yeah, that was a steal.
Yeah, and like three to four times, like, you know, you're coming to a jam that's going to be under a 10-piece, and Large Pro is going to be here, and he's probably going to DJ for close to 2 hours.
So for those of you who don't know who Large Pro is, he was in the group Main Source, if that rings a bell. He's done production for Nas, everybody basically. But yeah,
world renowned.
Oh yeah,
like
he's definitely a pioneer in the game.
Yeah, he's everybody's top 5, mostly everybody's top 5 producer.
Yes,
like everybody, like he is that guy.
Yep.
And he comes up with concepts too, where like, you know, he'll bring out his equipment and play beats for MCs that they've never heard, and that be the MC battle. You know what I mean? So the music, you know, won't be anything they recognize, but it'd be like, oh, I like this, and this is the guy just like seeing how this worked. You know, which those are concepts that I like.
Okay. Well, we're going to switch to, like I said, we're going to do the community spotlight right now.
Let's do it.
And then with the community spotlight, we always like to shed a spotlight on a nonprofit organization in the area. And today we're going to shed a spotlight on Guys and Gals Community Partnership Incorporated. Shout out to Executive Director Jerome Moss. He recently received the Be the Change Citizen Award from the Akron Zoo and their president, Doug Rockerz. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Basically, their mission is to promote the physical and psychological well-being of individuals and communities through holistic education and preventable health programming. Okay, so they have basically like health incentives, like Hoop for Coop initiative aims to promote awareness of preventive health practices by educating individuals on essential aspects of healthy living through community programming. They have We Love Akron. This is where they recognize that during tough economic times, it often becomes difficult for struggling families to meet even their most basic needs. So I know that he has like a food pantry and all that. Like
that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then, you know, they do community events with the addition of the MLK Power Love and Justice Weekend. They pride themselves in bringing new events to the community for all to participate. So I wanted to, like I said, put a spotlight on them because we are definitely all about the community.
Absolutely.
We'll do a quick swing into the business spotlight. So I want to spotlight a business by the name of Kicks and Cuts. I actually go get my I haven't got my kicks from there yet.
I work at Kicks
because those are those fancy kicks. Those are the Jordans. Those are the vintage.
I work
Yeezys.
there. I'm the man's.
No, Kicks and Cuts.
Well, I mean, I work where the Jordans are at. I work at Kicks Lounge. Shout out.
You sure
Kicks
did
Lounge.
work at Kicks Lounge.
I still do.
This is different though. This is a young African American young guy who owns not only like an apparel shop that has like
what streets it on?
It has modern day streetwear. This is on Cuyahoga Falls actually. So this is on State Road.
Yeah. I heard of that.
This is on State Road.
I think some of my coworkers they went out to like some big inaugural for
that.
Yeah.
I got you. So basically, they're located at 4111 State Road, Suite A. Open Sunday. No, they're closed on Sundays and Mondays, but they're operating from Tuesday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And they carry all the latest trending streetwear brands at Kicks and Cuts. So check out their website, Cuts.com. All right. And another local business I want to spotlight. And like I said, I get my hair cut at this place.
Yeah, so you mentioned that.
Yeah, I said that already?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Went to grab your beard.
Right.
Yeah.
The great man.
That's right.
Your beard is nicely gray.
Right.
You know what I mean? And trimmed.
It's from stress. It's from
good living. That's
wisdom,
man.
Wisdom.
You deserve it.
But I'm working on that.
You deserve it. I haven't gotten mine yet. I mean, I haven't deserved it yet.
Man, I got them young, man. I don't know what happened. But anyways, so the other company we want to spotlight would be Custom X. So if you need custom
gear.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you need some custom hoodies, T-shirts, where you put your own logo images, they have their own images in their store that's in Summit Mall. Pay them a visit.
Is that who created the Plat gear?
Yeah, we got some sample pieces from there.
Okay.
Yep. So I want y'all to support them as well. They're open Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Sunday, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Awesome.
You know, so we got the community spotlight, we got the business spotlight. Now we about to have some fun real quick here.
Oh, are we about to do?
This is the unveiling.
This is
the
our
vinyl
unveiling.
unveiling.
Okay.
So this is basically, oh yeah, sound effects and all.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I've been here.
it's time for the vinyl unveiling, and each week or however many times you see us,
Okay.
we might make you wait longer than that.
A little bit longer.
But we like to show some of the younger audiences what it was like to experience having vinyl, falling in love with the artwork, and and the information on the back of the credits, and just reading through that. So today's unveiling. Oh, here's the bag. I can't see. All right.
You got a record in there?
Oh, this is what we do.
Oh, I ain't smash it in there. I'm treating it right.
It could be a 4 or 5. So
I know DJ's probably like, come on, man. What are you doing?
I'm thinking the album is in there.
Oh, it ain't just a naked vinyl in there.
I mean, it could be. It could be just a cover.
And who are we talking about today?
Oh, I was going to turn it this way so you can see it.
Yes, who are we talking about today, Minus?
Oh, I had to do it like that. Hold on.
Too late there, buddy.
All right, there we go. You got a drum roll?
I don't have the drum roll today.
Okay, that's fine. So we're going to unveil Deltron 3030 for all my hip hop heads out there. Anybody hip to Del the Funky Homo Sapien?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is when he hooked up with Kid Keola on the turntables and Dan the Automator.
I like the image on the front. I love the image on the front.
Dan the Automator produced, arranged, and mixed everything. But this album here, guys, if you want to hear some real abstract, paint a world of post-apocalyptic, bring down the system type stuff, this album will do it for you.
I'm putting that in my phone.
Yeah, it's like it's lyrically he paint, like you could close your eyes, put this on, and really feel like you're in that world that he's talking about. And a lot of the things he talking about, like, because this came out like in maybe the late 90s, early 2000s.
I'm really
it's
not
coming
into
to
it.
fruition now. Not to say that he's like a philosopher or nothing, but a lot of us are conspiracy theorists.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are in our own way.
30?
Yeah,
Mastermind?
Yep,
Yes.
Deltron 3030.
Word up.
And you know, Deltron is one of the founders of the Hieroglyphics crew.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
Word
Which
up.
consists
West
of
Coast.
like Souls of Mischief and
Love them.
yeah.
I've done some
love
work with
those guys.
them, as a matter of fact.
Listen, we went to the show and we performed for them when
performed
they were
for
at
them, yes.
Musica.
The
I was
Musica,
with
yes.
them
Opened
at
up for Souls
Peabody's
of
in
Mischief.
Cleveland in the 90s. Or
Man,
early.
they don't know nothing about Peabody's,
Yeah,
man.
I was there.
Oh, Peabody's?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
went to
Peabody's, man.
There,
History.
and also the Agora, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I remember the Agora.
And then you mentioned somebody else from West Coast.
Hieroglyphs.
No. It was the other brothers. They're kind of Jurassic 5.
Jurassic 5.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did some work with them at Kent State.
Okay. I got you.
Now they didn't hire us, you know. I mean, the promoters and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
facilitators put us together with them. But nonetheless, got it on footage.
That's what's up.
But yeah, that's wild. I never heard of Deltron. I did not know that Dale got his name from perhaps this.
Well, no. This is so Dale was already like with Mr. Davalina and all
Yeah.
that type of stuff. He was already doing that. Was
Bob Dabalina.
actually he's the cousin of Ice Cube. I
Ice
believe.
Cube, yep.
But this was after the fact. I think he had already formed Hieroglyphics.
Oh, so
and everything.
when he was doing all his collabs after, so it'd be like 98, 99.
This is close to the 2000
Yeah,
type
97,
thing. Yes, sir.
98. Now I'm thinking
Yes,
about
sir.
that because he was doing, ironically, because we were doing some work at like raves and stuff like that. So, and he was getting work in spots like that too, which
Okay.
was kind of wild because he's going on at like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Right.
And that's crazy how hip hop transitions into that. You know,
I
we
guess-
run the raves for real. A lot of hip hop run the raves.
Yeah, and it was a place that you could get loose, and people didn't judge you, and you could actually try your craft off, because like I said, like in the early 90s, like b-boying was kind of frowned upon in the black community. So there, it's like, oh, you guys are doing that. So it was really tight. My girlfriend at the time, not to mention her name or nothing like that, but in the 90s, when I started dancing again, she was like, yo, you're going to embarrass me with that. And I was like, no, I don't embarrass nobody. Like, I've never embarrassed anybody.
Oh, she didn't believe in you.
Oh, because she was like, she's like, yo, she's 3 years younger than us. So she's like, yo,
That's where you got that brutal honesty stuff.
It's corny. It's corny. Well, no, I've always been him. It's corny. It's corny. You're going to embarrass me. I'm like, nah, I don't embarrass you. I'm like, I don't, trust me. They know what I'm talking about. I think, this thing about my Volkswagen back then. But nonetheless, and then she saw us, like, watching footage of us dancing at, like, a rave. And not to give the props and nothing like that, but then she saw like all the love that we were getting, and then she's like, it's not black people. And I'm like, but at the same time, I was like, you mixed, like, why are you tripping about who's giving us love and admiration, And she's like, I see why you want to do this because these people are like, basically like bowing down to y'all.
She was very judgmental.
A lot of people in the urban communities and mixed communities also really didn't appreciate hip hop for what it was until it crossed over and the other cultures has grasped onto it. Then they came back home and was like, wow, because the impact was just not, me being from New York, it was love in New York until people started infiltrating. And then it got saturated and they was taking it different situations because they were trying to make their own image out of it.
That's dope because I with dancing, like with rock, for example, it comes out of New York, it comes out of Brooklyn, and it has its own backyard and stuff like that. And then I say, like, this is how I look at it, and this is how I do it. So I say, like, I don't say that this is how it is for all of it. Whoever thinks that got this dance from me, or who I got to inspire from it. But I'm like, yo, this is how I do it. Like, I didn't grow up, in that backyard,
right.
Seeing these brothers and I grew up with sports. These dudes grew up with like gangs and doing licks and hip hop. Like hip hop was like the other thing for me.
Yeah, hey, hip hop. What a beautiful thing it is. So yeah, this was the Vinyl and Valiant. So y'all go check out that Deltron 3030.
I'm gonna check that out.
All right, so we pretty much at the end here, guys. We gotta show the women some love.
Let's do it.
So this is the
this is where I have to
hip hop spotlight.
Show my chest.
No.
Okay.
No. This is where
my favorite part.
This is where we give props to the one and only Roxanne Shante.
Okay.
So Roxanne Shante, I don't know. A lot of y'all might have possibly seen the documentary. Was it a documentary on her? I think it might have been on.
Oh, it was on
was it
Juice
Netflix?
Crew. Yeah, it was. But I don't know if it was Netflix or Hulu, but it was a doc about the Juice Crew.
Okay. And then to give you a little background on her, so like the Juice Crew that consists of like Marley Marl. We had Big Daddy Kane. We had
well, you also got Biz, Cool G Rap. You got Craig G,
Master Ace.
Yep. It's just like my boy Bayshine.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this was a dope crew back in the day, and I think was Biz down with him too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. So this was
and also I'm forgetting MC Shan.
MC Shan.
Mm-hmm.
Did she battle Shan?
I think she battled basically everybody.
Yeah,
that's
she was
what
up
it was.
against
So
everybody.
the reason we picked Roxanne Shante because she went against the men in battles.
Yeah.
We talking about actual.
Yeah.
We talking about the real rock,
Yeah.
the real Roxanne, because it's been like 3 of Roxanne's.
Not because I don't know if it's the real Roxanne.
It's Shante.
It's Roxanne Shante.
Shante.
Okay,
Yeah.
Shante.
Yeah,
Shante.
I think that was a spoof of her in a sense, but Roxanne Shante, man, she was fearless, is what I'm basically getting at.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think of some of her popular songs. I can't even think off the top of my head. You know.
Well, her and Biz, the track with him, it's actually live, and then Have a Nice Day.
Yeah. I liked her, man. Her voice was unique too. She didn't sound like too many people. I didn't think.
Teenage Glory. She was teenager.
Was 14, right?
Yeah, Teenage Glory.
Battling
Awesome.
grown men, y'all.
Yeah.
So she was truly blessed with the skill of that pen, and she's doing this off the top of her head.
Well, yeah, that was
She's
her
freestyling.
Main, yeah, the thing about her, they said it was like she basically just kind of go in right off the top, freestyling.
Yeah. So
Like no pen needed.
now I think she ended up her career got her hip hop, like not her hip hop, but her rap career got a little cut short
She had a baby.
She had a baby.
Yeah.
And she decided that she wanted to be a good mom and take care of her baby.
No, she got to manipulate the system, and they paid for her to go to college. And she's
what did she become? What type of degree did she get?
I want to say, I don't want to say lawyer, but it's something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like she went to, like, I don't remember the universities and all that there, but she did really well for herself.
Oh yeah. She did real well.
Give you a couple songs. Look them up. Big Mama by Roxanne Shante. Roxanne's Revenge.
Roxanne's
was the
Revenge.
big one.
Because basically the reason, I heard that she had met up with Marley Marl when they first kind of got to working with each other, and UTFO had just put out a song called, was it The Real Roxanne?
Roxanne.
And it was a song.
84.
It was a song about, I guess, girls denying their advances or something.
It's about them. Yeah, exactly. Denying their advances, and
Roxanne,
they're actually talking about the same person, I suppose, but they didn't really know it. You know, it's like how he starts. Yo, EMD, yeah, what's up, man?
Yeah.
There go that girl they call her. She's all suck up. Why do you say that? Because
Right.
she wouldn't give a guy like me no rap.
Right.
And she was walking down the street, and I said, hello.
Right.
Can't go
From
from
the
UTFO.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and so again,
Tango Kid.
yeah, that whole form of rapping too is really like he's really talking right how we just did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you
It
know,
was conversation.
you know what I
In
mean?
rhyme form.
And so exactly. And so I remember hearing that because that record's produced by Full Force.
Yes, sir.
okay.
And I remember coming to school talking to my boy Terry Lewis about that record, and me and him dug that real tough because back in the day that was on 108 Club Style. So shout out to my boy Johnny O. So for being like our Mr. Magic, Marley Marl.
That's the nerd DJs and stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Spoke on that.
He was the and still is, but Johnny O was the man.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Johnny O was the man.
Oh yeah. And then when Roxanne met up with Marley Marl, basically they came up with a song called Roxanne's Revenge, and this was a response or a rebuttal to The Real Roxanne by UTFO. So that's
Pretty
how
much
she
use the same beat and everything.
Yeah, same everything exactly. So yeah, that's our female hip hop spotlight today. So
Awesome. Oh, I want to give another one though, like female hip hop shout out. Sure. You know, we mentioned earlier with the group Illstyle Rockerz. So Honey Rockwell, B girl Honey Rockwell, who's doing big things. Also,
Mixed girl.
she's Puerto Rican.
Okay.
Basically,
Right, I
like she
remember
looks,
her.
she looks a lot like pull her up. She looks like especially in those '90s, she was like a B girl version of J Lo, like to
J-Lo?
everybody.
What's her name?
Honey Rockwell, B girl Honey Rockwell. So that would be my big hug as far as like shout out to females in hip hop, and she is probably she's probably my favorite.
that's what's up, man.
Yeah, she's probably my favorite.
Shout out to the women.
Yeah,
The
B girl
culture
Honey
is for
Rockwell.
everybody, y'all. We all got to come together. So, well, that was episode number 4.
Word. Four is my favorite number. I'm so glad to be here.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, 4 is my favorite number.
Yeah,
so glad to
yeah.
be
We
here.
completed the elements.
Firestone. That's her.
We completed the 4 original
Any of them.
elements of the
For
Plat.
the video,
So
you really do. Or
just be on the lookout for more episodes, and I want to
Yeah,
give a
that's cool.
shout out to Dre Live once again. Thank you for coming,
Pleasure's mine.
hanging out with us at the Plat, because the Plat is where it's at.
Where it's
Plat
at.
is where it's
100%.
at.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And we
She's
out.
doing things with young kids right
Oh,
now.
wait a minute. I forgot. See, this is a surprise for you guys. I didn't even tell y'all. You think they're ready back there? Okay. I think yes. I didn't tell you, this is a surprise. I had them come through the back door, you know what I'm saying? All right. So we always end our show with a live performance.
Yes, sir.
Guess who we got this week?
Who we got this week?
You got a drum roll or anything?
I feel like I'm on
give me
like
a sound.
No
David
drum roll.
Letterman.
Just
give me a sound.
Stupid
No,
pet tricks.
no, no.
That's what I feel like it's about to jump off.
Tommy,
right
you're
here.
supposed to be ready, man.
Right.
Oh, he was looking
dog,
up,
I
he
was
was
so-
looking up Rockwell.
Just beatbox it. That's the one you went for?
I'm just saying.
Drink
You
champs,
feel
we're not
me?
biting drink champs. Drink champs. Come on. Give me something unique.
Give you something unique. I can't. What?
Unique.
Give it up, guys. For Minus the Alien. Peace.
Starlight, starlight, baby, I'm a starlight, my starlight. Starlight, starlight, baby, I'm a starlight. My starlight, my star bright, you're cataclysmic. You're cataclysmic. You're cataclysmic. My starlight, my star bright, you're cataclysmic. Although you might be distant, you're a breath of fresh air. The first of my 3 wishes. The main course, no side piece dishes. Had plenty false alarms, I think a sign's been given. This time just might be different. And I wouldn't be surprised if we survive the mission. I'm just being optimistic, cause you're my starlight, starlight. Baby, I'm a starlight, my starlight. Starlight, starlight. Baby, I'm a starlight. My starlight, my star bright, you're cataclysmic. You're cataclysmic. You're cataclysmic. You got me dreaming like I'm walking in Eden, right next to my Eve. If we can stop eating all these apples that's in the garden, I'm falling for who? You, my darling. You're starving for affection. We sparking, I think we got a connection. Can I offer a suggestion? Let nothing stop your progression. You could be blocking your blessing. And life's too short to be stressing. Quit letting these crabs pull you back in the barrel. Cause baby, it's a thin line, which means the path is narrow between love and hate. I wish I had 3 arrows so I could aim at your heart, your mind, and your soul, and let Cupid try to take control. But manipulation, no, that ain't my goal. I'm just really trying to let you know that you're my starlight, starlight. Baby, I'm a starlight, my starlight. Starlight, starlight. Baby, I'm a starlight. My starlight, my star bright, you're cataclysmic. You're cataclysmic. You're cataclysmic. Subscribe to the Plat, vibe to the Plat, ride to the Plat, 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 Plat.